Hi, it's Clark Mortensen from Mort'sSportsCorner on Vintage Radio 105.5, sponsored by the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Join us every Saturday from 10 to noon for one-on-one interviews and sports ranging from T-ball to the big leagues. Sorry about that. Great song, but we're back. It's Mort'sSportsCorner. WQUD, Vintage Radio, Erie, Illinois. Sponsored by Fellowship of Christian Athletes, the heart and soul of sports. All right, congratulations to Patrick Kane. Patrick Kane is just got awarded the Hart Memorial for the NHL MVP, Chicago Blackhawks. Patrick's goals per game this year, games played this year. He played in all 82 games. He had 46 goals, 60 assists for 106 points. He had a plus or minus this year of 17. That's outstanding, unbelievable. He had his best year ever this year for the Blackhawks, and hopefully he's got quite a few ahead of him. But this year he won the Art Ross Trophy, which is the points leader. He also won the Hart Memorial, like I just said, the NHL MVP. He also won Ted Lindsay, Most Outstanding Player, which kind of the same thing, but a little bit different. But he added those to his previous trophies, which is the Calder Memorial, which is Rookie of the Year, and the Conn Smythe. Back in 2013, he was a playoff MVP. So, congratulations, Kaner. He got 121 of the 150 possible votes, first place votes, and he's only the second U.S.-born player and first Blackhawk since Stan Mikita, who won it back-to-back in 1967-68. So pretty big accomplishment. And only 7 times has the Hawks player won it. So congratulations again to Patrick Kane. NBA Finals. Cleveland somehow came back from a 3-1 deficit to beat Golden State. LeBron James got MVP with the triple-double in Game 7, coming back, like I said, 3-1 down to the Stephen Curry-led Warriors. Well, I guess the obvious is to be said that the 95-96 Bulls are, and always will be, the best NBA team. Golden State broke the record this year, regular season, might I add. 73-9 to the Bulls, 72-10 back in 95-96. But the problem is they couldn't finish. Playoff record was 15-9, so they lost just as many games in 26-game span as they did in an 82-game span. So nice try, Golden State, but the Bulls of 95-96 and Jordan led are still the best NBA team ever. And in Major League Baseball, Mariners topped the Cardinals 4-3. Cubs ended a 4-game skid, beating the Fish 5-4. White Sox over Toronto 3-2. Bucks beat up the Dodgers 8-6. Yanks toppled the Twins 5-3. O's over the Rays 6-3. Tigers fall to the Tribe 7-4. Padres pound the Reds 13-4. Mets beat up Atlanta 8-6. The Bo Sox over Texas 8-7. Brew Crew beat DC 5-3. Astros throttled Kansas City 13-4. Got some more to say about that in a little bit, but what an outstanding game by Kansas City, especially that first inning was unbelievable. D-backs beat the Rockies 10-9, and that looked more like a slow-pitch softball game than did a Major League Baseball game. But A's beat the Halos 7-4, and San Francisco over Philly 5-4. So we had a good day in baseball yesterday. Well, not for me, I'm a Cardinal fan, but for the Cub fans, finally end your 4-game skid. We won't go into who you lost the first 3 games to, but I think everybody knows that you're still in first place by 9.5 games. Actually, after today, I think it's 9.5. But yeah, hopefully they're back on their winning ways. They've had a lot of people on the DL, so hopefully get that taken care of and get back to business. Anyway, we're here with Chuck Hulke. Chuck is correct me if I'm wrong, but you're the Midwest director?
Yes, Midwest director of Alumni Football USA.
Midwest director of the Alumni Football USA. And for those of you that didn't listen to the first half of the show or haven't been around the last few years to hear about it, Alumni Football USA is an organization that started in California, correct?
Correct.
Started in California. What's the founder's name again?
Bob Cassette is the president and founder out
Bob
in
Cassette.
Santa Rosa, California.
He started this. It's a wonderful program. It really is. He started this. It was 15 years ago, wasn't it?
32.
32 years ago.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm way off. Sorry. Started at 32 years ago. The first game in Illinois, though, was 3 years ago.
Yep. It would have been. This is our 4th year in Illinois, so yeah, it would have been 2013 was the first year that we did games.
And the very first game, I'm proud to say, was at Riverdale High School.
Yes, it was.
The Erie Provincetown Panthers, and we won't go into that game as far as the final score because it was pretty lopsided, and as you can tell, it didn't go in our favor. So I played in that game, and it was a great time. And like I said before with Matt Kelly, if you love football, you've got to sign up, pad up, get out there because it is a blast. So yeah, do you want to plug what games do you have coming up this week?
This week, actually, we have 6 states that we deal with: Iowa, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Minnesota, and Iowa. So I think that was 6. This week, actually, on Saturday, which would be 4th of July weekend, we're doing our first game ever in Minnesota, and we decided to do that one. Kind of started off with a bang, so we're all the way up in Grand Marais, Minnesota, which is about a stone's throw from Canada, about 35 miles from Canada.
Oh,
and
wow.
We actually had a player get a hold of us about doing a game, just kind of stumbled over our website, and through talking to him, we've got this huge game that's going to happen up there. Grand Marais is about 2.5 hours north of anywhere, so the team is actually playing a big intramural type scrimmage against each other, and should be a pretty big game. So we'll be there Friday, and then we have a rare week off, the weekend of the 8th and 9th, and then we're back in the area in Oregon on July 15th.
Who's Oregon playing?
They're going to play Rock Falls.
Okay. And
then from there on out, we're kind of a little further south in the Peoria area, Stark County, Princeville, Mendota, and Princeton will be playing on the 23rd, and then we just keep rolling after that.
And to tell you about how it works a little bit, you basically go on the website, which is
alumnifootballusa.com.
You go on the website, you find your state.
Yes.
You find the city that you played in, or the city that you played in.
City or school. Sometimes with the consolidations, we have everything. Everything is set up to where you can find where you played football.
Or like in Matt's case, well, Matt played for Provincetown, but in somebody like the Wetzel boys went to Tampico. There was no Erie Provincetown. There was no Provincetown. They could find it, by going to whatever school that they presently would have played for.
Correct.
And you go on, you sign up. You don't have to pay at that time, right?
No.
You sign up, and you'll get an email. They'll get an email from Chuck, from you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Chuck will send you an email letting you know what's going on. And most of the time it's a small town. Like here, it's word of mouth. But Chuck will send you an email and tell you when practices are.
Yep.
Tell you when practices are. Let you know all about football or Alumni Football USA. If you've never done it before, I suggest you sign up and just get the ball rolling. Some of the bigger schools like United Township or Moline or somebody like that would, you'd get them in contact with who they need to be. Most schools practice a couple times a week.
Most are on a Saturday, to be honest, most are Sundays. Most are Sunday afternoons, either, anywhere from 1 in the afternoon till 6 o'clock at night, depending on what works best. Because, it's not like high school where every player you expect them to be at practice. It's Alumni. We all have jobs. We all have lives. So Sunday afternoon seems to work best for guys. Get done doing whatever you're going to church, doing whatever you're going to do with your family. Then in the afternoon you come out with the guys. You get into shape a little bit. You do a little bit of running around and then get ready for the game.
All right. And, it's I've probably said this 10 times today, but I can't express it enough. It is a blast. It is a great time, and I suggest you get out and try it. Unfortunately, at my age, I think 2 games is enough for me, and I'm pretty much done. But, there is no age group. What's the oldest player that's ever played?
For me personally, 75. As a
75?
company, 84.
84 years old. That
Yeah.
was out in California, wasn't it?
The 84, yeah, I believe so. We had the 75-year-old that we had play last year was actually in from Washington, and his son and grandson, they were all took the field together. And the 75-year-old, he only played like a couple plays there towards the end, but that's the nice thing about alumni football. You play as much or as little as you want. Lots of times it's more of I just want to take the field with, my family. And that's what he did. He played quarterback. His son was the halfback, and his grandson was the receiver. And, it was a quick pitch to the running back for a halfback pass. And, he did chew out his son for not throwing a good pass to his grandson. But, we see a lot of that. Some of our toughest guys that we've ever seen have been in their late 40s, 50s. The younger guys they're in better shape, but some of the tougher guys are the older guys for sure.
That fire. They want to play. They want to hit somebody again. I'll never forget. We were talking earlier. My uncle Bruce Franks was 50 years old when he played the first game between Riverdale and EP. I believe, if I remember right, he got defensive player of the game, and he was 50 years old playing next to his son, who had just graduated high school like not even a month before that, like 3 weeks before that. So, and that's a great experience to see. You watch your kids play, you hear about your fathers play, or grandfathers or whatever, and how good they were, or how but to play along right next side. Right beside them is a joy that you just can't experience and know what they're talking about until you actually get to do it. I know the second year that we played, at one time, our defense consisted of my cousin Chuck and his brother Chase, my nephew Eric, my uncle and his boy Ian, and then my cousin Bart, and I know I'm forgetting somebody. I can't believe that I didn't write this down, because it was such an experience to know that 9 of the 11 players out on the field at that one time were all relatives, and we planned it that way. But it's something like the grandfather, father, son. It would be an unbelievable experience to be able to do. So yeah, we're gonna take a commercial break and listen to a song, but we'll be back with Chuck and talk more about Alumni Football USA. All right, we're back. That reminds me, the bread lady brings in the old hippie show on Saturday nights. She brings in goodies, and they're always talking about the atomic, I think it's called the atomic cinnamon roll that she brings in, and I need to stop by there and get one, because from what I hear, it's unbelievable. So make sure you get in there and talk to her about all the breads that she sells here in Main Street in Erie. Anyway, this just got dropped off earlier. I'm not sure what it is, but I was asked to read it. It's Sunday from 10 to 2. They're calling it the Chop and Pop, $5 for DC trip on the Triangle. So I'm assuming it's just what it says. Maybe I hope I'm right. Sounds like a pork chop sandwich and a pop for $5 to help fund the DC trip. So come on to the Triangle tomorrow from 10 to noon, and make sure that you support the 8th graders. I'm again assuming that's what this is about. So anyway, we're back with Chuck Hulke from, I'm pronouncing that right?
Yes.
Okay. Chuck Hulke from Alumni Football USA. He is the Midwest coordinator. Chuck, who's eligible to play in these games?
Well, we actually have a couple different requirements in order to play in these games. Number one, obviously, if you're alumni of the school, which means you went to the school and you graduated, you're obviously eligible to play. And it doesn't matter whether you played football or not. Obviously, if you played football, that's great. But if not, this is maybe a second chance in life to try the sport you always wanted to. Because some guys, Mother Nature isn't always kind, and some guys don't actually grow into their bodies until they get out of school. You may have saw someone that wouldn't go near the football field when they were younger, but when they get out of school, maybe they get into CrossFit or anything else, weightlifting, and they really fill out. So there's a chance there. So alumni, of course. We have, and the other requirement, or the We call it the transplant exception. What that means is these are community events. We want people to have a connection to what's going on. So maybe you didn't graduate from Erie Prophetstown. Maybe you are a parent that has a child going there, or maybe you have a child that already graduated from there, or if you're a school employee, like any employee of the school whatsoever, and that includes coaches all the way down to the volunteer level. If you're a volunteer coach at Erie for the T-ball team, our goal is that those kids would get a chance to see you put on the school uniform that they're playing for and cheer you on. Guys grow up other places, but they move to towns, they start their lives, and they're all in for those communities. And this way, it helps create a lightning rod for the game and gets more people to the game to watch. The kids get excited about it. We've seen a ripple effect from our games. Maybe you've got a town that struggles traditionally with football. Maybe their numbers are down. We've seen towns, mine in particular, where I come from in Iowa, where we do games a couple years, and believe it or not, the football mentality in the town, the tradition, it starts to get a little bit tighter. Numbers start to go up. Football becomes a little bit more prominent, and we're able to use the event to fuel what's going on in the school, and those are the two exceptions to actually play, and by doing that, we get a lot of guys that just absolutely love it. They may have grew up in Texas, but they live out here now, and there's no way I could play for my team. But I've been coaching junior tackle for the last 3 years, so this is great, and my kids get to see me play. What better? Any football coach that's out there, I've been a football coach for years, and I can tell you, if I had a nickel for every time I told one of my kids, boy, if I could strap them on again, I would. Mm-hmm. Well, now it's time to put your money where your mouth is and show your kids, hey, I'm going to do it too.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful organization. I can't stress enough that the fee is $100.
Yes.
Which when I first saw that, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money. But if you think about it, it's not. It's not a lot of money when by the time you talk about insurance, you talk about the equipment and anything else that comes along with it. Not to mention the ability. Where else are you going to have the ability to walk out on the playing field, put the pads on again, and hit somebody one last time, or maybe you play every year? But that's a pretty small fee. And the first year I was like, wow, I don't know if I can afford this. To the next year I couldn't wait. Here, take my money. This is a blast. Unfortunately, I had to tell myself I have to retire because I don't know how to play at the speed that my age is, and I unfortunately am not as good shape as I was back 25, 26 years ago. So I needed to stop, and there's other people that just have a blast. And like you said, 74 years old, 75 years old, still playing, and they're still in great shape. They're still doing the things. Numerous kids from 18 on up, and it's a wonder how this organization has lasted so long and not been heard of before. 32 years is a long time, and we didn't found out about it 3-4 years ago. How did you get involved with the administrative end of the?
Well, it's kind of funny story. It's been around for 32 years. It actually hit Iowa in 2011. The owner tends to pop around the U.S., and he did a couple games in Iowa, and a buddy of mine got a hold of me and said, hey, I heard that we can do this. Would you want to play? And I said, of course. Why wouldn't I want to play? I mean, I played in high school. I played 2 years in college, and I hurt my knee, and I was out, and it kind of cut what I was doing short. So I said, sure, I'll do it. But me being the natural skeptic that I am, I didn't believe it was real. And we run into that a lot. Guys,
I didn't believe it.
Guys think that it's fake. There's no way this is a big scam. You're out to take my money. So I called the owner of the company immediately. And Bob is a great guy. Told talked to him for a while and really kind of bought into what he's about. He's about family. He's about community. He's about, building up something special. And I told him, I live in Illinois now. I'm from Iowa. I'm going to play in this game, but I want to bring this to Illinois. I said, this will take off in Illinois. We're football, wrestling. I mean, it's similar to Iowa and to sports that we truly, truly love. And it'll be like, leading a fish to water. It'll be great. And through talking to him, we were able to put together our first year in 2013. And one of the main games that we brought it for was the doubleheader in Sterling. We did the Morrison-Newman Rock Falls Sterling game, and we had 4,200 people at the game. And that particular game raised right around the neighborhood of $27,000.
And let's expound on that real quick. $42,000, and who'd that go to?
Well, it all goes to each team. Each team gets pre-sale tickets to sell. Half of those pre-sale ticket money goes back to whatever charity they want, whether it's a school, whether it's a junior tackle. The team decides, the guys decide. And then the hosting school gets concessions, and whatever other fundraising avenue you want to use, you can do it. I've been working pretty tirelessly over the last 3 years to try to find more fundraising avenues for schools and teams to use. I've got a national deal right now with a T-shirt company that we use that charges, we can get custom T-shirts made for teams that want to sell them as fundraisers for $3 a shirt. I mean, you're not going to find that anywhere, and that's only through us. I mean, we don't make a dime off of it, and I don't want to make a dime off of it. I want the teams to do that and make as much money as they can. But that's kind of how I got started into it. And, there's coordinators around the world or around the country that do a couple games here, a couple games there. We just hit it out of the park right the first year. We did 10 games our first year. We did 25 games our second year. Our third year we did right around 25 games. This year we're going to do right around that 20 to 30 range, but we keep spreading out between the 6 states that we have. We were primarily in Illinois, Iowa, and then now we keep spreading. So the towns and the teams that play the first couple years, sometimes it's an every year thing, sometimes it's an every other year. It just depends on what the guys want to do. It's a different revenue stream for towns and schools to make money, because in the state of Illinois right now, as everybody knows, the budget crunch is real. I mean, there's some schools that are concerned they're not even going to be able to pay their salaries in December. So what we do is we give them the opportunity to say, hey, here's free money. Mm-hmm. Here is a fundraiser for you to do to raise money at no cost to you whatsoever. We take care of every single cost there is. All the school does is, here's the field.
Get the fans.
That's it. And we take care of the rest. That $100 fee you mentioned, when I was first approached, I said I'd pay $500 to do this.
Oh, yeah.
But it does take care of a lot of things, but it is 100% refundable. If you can't play for whatever reason, if you get injured walking out of your house, if your wife talks you out of it, it is 100% refundable.
We actually had a kid our first year, Sam Cady, got hurt the night before, and you guys refunded his money. Yeah. And actually, I think you moved it to another kid that just, or when I say kid, anybody under the age of 40 to me is a kid. But we had another player that showed up the day of the game and signed up and everything, and you moved that over to him.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful thing. And like you said, it doesn't go to any specific charity. It's whoever the players decide. For instance, Riverdale, our first year, if I remember right, gave it to a little girl that had cancer, and they gave it to her for her medical bills and everything. Let's also talk about, you also get to pick a person. Each team gets to pick a person who they want to honor at halftime.
Oh, sure.
I know the first year Riverdale had Bobby Jervitz, who was, I still think he holds the record at Riverdale High School for most yards rushing, and I'm pretty sure he also holds the record for St. Ambrose University for most yards rushing. And I know we've had, we honored a great man who, I I can't remember the name of the movie, but he was called to. He was a World War II hero who actually coached football in Erie back in the 50s. George Smilanich. He was consulted for the movie with Brad Pitt. Oh, I'm at a blank. Can't believe I didn't think. But anyway, he was in the Battle of the Bulge, and the movie was all about his unit. And then he, after the military, nobody really, I don't think, knew this around town, but he actually was our football coach, and nobody knew he was a World War II hero. So you get a chance to honor people and to showcase the people you have in your community. It's a great organization. It's a great time. Like you said, you don't believe it at first, but it is true.
Right.
Why don't you mention some of the upcoming games in Illinois?
This year, we're like I said, we're starting to spread out a little bit more. We do have coming up in July. We've got Oregon and Rock Falls on July 15th up in Oregon. We're doing a lot around the Peoria area on July 22nd. We are in Wyoming, Stark County, Princeville. July 23rd, we have a very big Mendota versus Princeton game. Those guys in Mendota are super excited to play in their most of the guys on the team never got a chance to play in that beautiful facility that Mendota has. The next weekend, we go all the way down to Highland and Triad down by East St. Louis. Big game down there. Lots of ex-NFL guys playing in that one.
Really?
Yep.
Do you know who the
they're
coach on the spot?
I don't know their names per se. I mean, we don't have any like all-stars that are in it, but I know a lot of guys that have made squads. And just from the looks of them, there's some big boys that are going to be in that game.
Well, back in my time, back in the 80s, there were a lot of people from the East St. Louis area that played for Illinois and even Missouri and some of the other Big Ten schools, and went on like Mel Agee and numerous other big name people. So I was just wondering, maybe I've heard of some of them. I'll have to get on there and look at their roster.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I know one was on the Broncos, I know, and a couple of, but it's the first game in that area. We're starting to move south in Illinois as we spread out, and they've taken the ball and run with it down there. And after this particular game down there, we're probably going to see anywhere from 4 to 5 more games the next year. We are working on a game in July on the 30th with Winnebago and Byron. And no, Considine's not playing in that one, but
Considine was a NFL star for Byron.
He has been asked several times for the last couple. No.
I know a couple of years ago, I think it was Moline played Rock Island, and I was hoping to see like Brad Hopkins and Ron Holstrom and stuff like that, but unfortunately, those guys, Brad Hopkins is still down in Memphis doing a radio show. Well, I don't know if it's Memphis, down in Tennessee, still doing a ESPN radio show, but he was an alumni from Moline, and I think he played 12 years for Tennessee Titans, and he was a 4-year starter for Illinois. Just a giant man.
We don't see a lot of we get some, like in Washington, we've got Tim Simpson, who played for the Steelers and played for the Browns. He's an Illinois grad. He's from East Peoria. He played for Washington last year through the transplant rule, but he's actually from East Peoria.
When you say Washington,
Illinois,
not Washington Redskins.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That game was a huge game.
Yeah, that was a big one.
How many people in attendance?
We had 5,200 people come through pre-sale and through the gate. There was probably closer to 5,700 people there. We had 200 or 300 band members there. I mean, it really had a college atmosphere. It was that big. We had 113 players on the field. Wow. I had to bring in a second truck just to handle all the equipment. That game in itself raised $50,000.
$50,000 for the charity.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
The home school There were so many people that the homeschool ran out of concessions literally before right around halftime.
That's good.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a good problem to have.
That's great. I mean, they raised so much money. I mean, we put on these games. I mean, we put on these games just for that reason. We want the guys to play, to have a good time, but we want them to milk the event for everything it's worth. We want to make sure that after the event is over, they know that they raised as much money as they possibly could. We get some teams that don't raise any money. To be honest, they just want to play the game, and that's fine, but that's not what we're about. That's why we say, we need to have 25 paid guys on each team. That guarantees the game and locks it in. And the quicker we get that, the quicker we can get you tickets. Because once you get tickets, the game's guaranteed, and we're off and running.
Well, and you're doing it to get back on the field, but you're also doing it to raise money for your charity that you're representing.
Right, and there's a reason we're very methodical about how we do things, and what I mean by that is we don't do a lot of advertising. We don't. We do a lot of social media stuff, but we want the majority of what's going out there and getting out there to come from the guys that are playing. And I talked about it before when I say a ripple effect. It does create community excitement. It helps. It even helps increase football numbers in youth. But what it really does is it gets guys that maybe aren't connected with the school anymore or their community to get off their tails and do something for the town that they live in. Mm-hmm. Go out, raise money, get involved. Don't sit on the couch, drink beer, watch football and do nothing. Become a part of something again. Exactly. And once you become a part of something, you're connected again. Me personally, when I graduated high school, I graduated at 17. I went off to college. I was gone. Never looked back, never came back. Never did anything for my hometown. Never did anything for my football team, anything. When the alumni stuff started, I kind of took a look at myself and what we do, and now anytime that school asks, I'm back. Right. My hometown team, anytime that school asks, we're there. You need money, you need time, we're there. And that's something that these games do.
Another thing I want to add, unless things have changed, the charity, if you buy your ticket, if you walk in and pay at the door, at the gate, mm-hmm. the charity doesn't get any money.
Correct.
So you need to get a hold of somebody that's paying. If it's an EP, actually, you know what? I'm going to say if you call or get a hold of the station and get a hold of me, I will make sure I find somebody that you can call, whether it's Washington versus Metamora or whether it's EP versus Amboy. I'll find somebody to get you in contact with to buy a ticket from them so that's what goes to the charity. So make sure that you buy your tickets ahead of time mm-hmm. from the players and don't wait last minute and buy it at the gate because we need this to go to the charity. And again, the organization that puts this on, Alumni Football USA, has done a fantastic job. I wish you don't happen to have the numbers nationwide of what they've made. It's in the millions.
Fundraising nationwide. We're right around $2.4 million that we've raised, helped raise. I don't say we raised, I say helped raise through our events. Myself personally, just in the state of Illinois and Iowa, we're pushing $750,000 right now.
$750,000 just in Illinois.
Illinois and Iowa, yeah. And we have taken over as far as the Midwest is the strongest area right now. We are everywhere.
In Texas and California.
We are killing Texas and California because Texas, when they first got started, they were doing well. But it's just so big and so spread out. It's tough to man the whole state. Illinois, because I don't really sleep, we're everywhere. And I joke around with people. People give us a hard time. Oh, you just want to make a buck off people. No, I don't. I don't do this full time. This isn't my job. This isn't my career. I have a career where I'm an operations manager and have worked for 20 years at a company. I do this in every waking minute outside of it. One, because I love it. I want to give every guy the opportunity to do what I did and to raise money.
Right.
That's what's important to me, and that's why we do it.
And you do a good job. Where'd you said you played 2 years of college ball? Where'd you play college ball?
I went to Winfield Mount Union High School in Iowa. I played. I got a scholarship my freshman year to go to Waldorf College. It's a junior college up in north central Iowa. I played there my first year, and then my second year I went to Wartburg. And then that was a year that I ended my college career in football.
And I'm glad you said. That's why I asked, because we have a kid from Erie Provincetown that's going to be playing for Wartburg this year.
Great school. Great
Dylan
school.
Binion. So it is a good school. My wife is. Matter of fact, I wanted to stress upon that. My wife is from the Waterloo area, and actually up in Janesville, which is even closer to Wartburg, and it's a great school. It's got a fantastic football and wrestling program.
I think they've run the national championship 10 out of the last 12 years in Division III.
In football?
In wrestling.
In wrestling, yeah. They are a fantastic football school, but they're definitely known for their wrestling. Yeah. They are them, and it's
Grandview.
What's that?
Grandview College in Des Moines, yeah, and Upper Iowa. The wrestling in Iowa is it's off the charts. I mean,
the college wrestling in Iowa is second to none.
Well, and Illinois is almost there now, but growing up in Iowa, I mean, you're in wrestling tournaments at 3 years old. I mean, you just are. If you get to junior high and you haven't been wrestling for 6 years, you probably aren't going to go out.
Yeah, that reminds me too. You need to. This is a personal favor for me. If you could go to Union High School in LaPorte and get those started in a alumni football game, so my wife's brothers can play and we can go watch.
We can do that.
We can do that. Matter of fact, my wife's brother Nate is the all-time leading tackler for Union High School in LaPorte City, Iowa. So you need to go there and drum up some business and get them to start playing.
We were just a couple weeks ago. We were just through that way. So yeah, and really the easiest way for guys to get a game is, we have schools get a hold of us. We have coaches. We have athletic directors. But the most successful way that I've found is just when the guys want to play, they just sign up. If we get over 25 guys signed up, we know that the town is serious about wanting to do it. There's enough interest. Then we go to work. Mm-hmm. Then I am vigilant about getting a hold of the schools, contacting everyone that needs to be contacted, and making it happen. We supply all the equipment, all the uniforms, liability insurance, game day staff, EMS, personnel, everything that is needed for a game. Some schools, some teams will go out and get their own jerseys and do whatever. That's fine, but we have everything that they need. And then, once we have the guys guaranteed, we get the tickets out and away we go. And I've been doing this now for 4 years, and you'll get some schools that, they give you the keys to the castle, and then you'll get some where you have to fight.
Yeah.
We're doing a game around the Peoria area, small school, and I've been to their school board meeting twice already. And it doesn't matter how big you are or how small you are, we're going to put in the time to make sure you get your game. Mm-hmm. Because ultimately, that's why guys do it, is they want to play. And so, if we don't get them on the field, we fail. So we do everything we can to make it happen. But that first step, and sometimes it seems like a rough one, but all you got to do is log on to alumnifootballusa.com, click reserve, fill out the short little registration, and you're in. Mm-hmm. And then we get your emails.
Takes 2 minutes?
If that. And that way we can get you all our information. You'll get our mass texts, our emails, everything, so we can keep you in the loop of what's going on. And then once you get to practices, we get to that point, then it's time to start sacrificing time. And then that's the last important piece to get a game going is, just like with anything, you have to show up to practice. You have to.
Trust me, if you don't, you're going to pay for it. And you know what? The practices are fun. You get together with a bunch of guys that either you played with in high school, or in my case, I've watched over the last few years since you've been out of high school and watched these guys and play next to them. Like I said earlier with Matt, I'm playing the last year we played. I'm playing next to a kid that had just graduated like 2 weeks before and was an all-state fullback. Next to him in the backfield was a kid that was all-state fullback the year before that. And next to him is another kid that was Erie, born and raised in Erie, went to Erie up until high school, and went to was a MAC player of the year, or not player of the year, but all conference player, linebacker for Davenport Assumption. So we've got 3 kids that are some of the best running backs in the state that are playing right next to you, and they're 18, 19 years old, which helps because they don't need the breaks like us older guys do. But, if, like I was saying earlier, maybe things have changed, but that first year, my cousin Wyatt calls me and says, hey, I'm playing for Fulton. This is what's going on. And I just get on there. There was one guy, I believe it was Tim Cochran from Provincetown. He had already signed up. I signed up, and Bruce Franks had signed up. And I think that was it, just the 3 of us. And you guys contacted us, and you guys got the ball rolling. And by word of mouth, Bruce lives in Provincetown. I think Cochran lives in Provincetown, outside of Provincetown. So he was talking to the Tampico, Provincetown people. I was talking to the Erie people, and it just spread like wildfire. Next thing you know, we had a full roster. Riverdale had a full roster. Well, I basically called a couple friends of mine that I know that went to Riverdale and said, hey, this is what we're doing. We need a game against you guys if we can, at all possible. Talk to Jeff Anderson. Jeff Anderson, next thing you know, he's got like 20-some guys signed up within a couple weeks.
Right.
It grows like wildfire. So if you went to a school that doesn't have a game, just get on there and sign up. And Alumni football will take over from there. Chuck will take over from there and get the ball rolling.
Yep. Once you sign up, we will contact you right away. Doesn't matter if there's a game schedule or not. If you're signed up, we're going to call you and say, hey, I see that you signed up to play. Who do you want to play, and what do we need to do to get the ball rolling for you? And we've had several games. We've had some towns where we'll get 70 guys sign up over a weekend.
Yeah.
If it hits the right guy on Facebook, away it goes. And then from there, we take it and we run with it. And once we get leadership established in that particular town and team, after we hit the meeting, because we have to start everything off with a meeting once we get enough guys, then the guys kind of take over from there, and they manage their own practices and things like that. Captains, coaches, that's all done on the team level. And then we handle all the operational stuff on top of it.
Okay. All right, we'll be back in a second with Chuck. Just wanted to do a little quick story. After getting hit by a pitch on his wrist last year and missing 2 months of the season, Astros outfielder George Springer, he got a little revenge on Royals pitcher Edison Valquez. Same guy that hit him last year. He lit up Valquez last night in 13-4 win over at Kauffman Stadium. Springer rocked Valquez for a triple and a grand slam as part of the 9-run first inning. Yes, you heard me correctly. He hit his triple and his grand slam in the first inning for Houston. And they've won season-high 6 straight games. But Springer is the first player to log a triple and grand slam in the same inning since Brandon Inge did it back in 2004. Springer ended the night 3 for 5 with a career-high 5 RBIs. He's the first player in Major League Baseball history to hit a triple and a grand slam in the first inning. Springer has 3 slams this year, which is an Astros franchise record, and we're not even halfway through the season, so he's just on a tear. Springer is also the first leadoff hitter to hit a grand slam since in the first inning since Seattle's Danny Tartable back in April 16th, 1986. In the words of the late, great Mel Allen, how about that? We will be right back. We're back. We got a couple minutes left to go in the show. I want to thank Chuck Hulke for coming on. Again, he's the Midwest Director of Alumni Football USA. Chuck, it was a pleasure having you on, and we appreciate it. And we will, every week this summer, I'm going to try to plug whatever game's coming up. So if you can let me know if, in case I forget, I'll plug it so these charities can get what they need and get their money raised and everything else that they need to do to have a successful game and have a successful drive. But we appreciate it. You want to let us know when the EP practices are?
Yep. The EP alumni team actually starts practicing on the 22nd, which is tomorrow. 26, sorry. 26 tomorrow at 6 p.m. I believe they're going to do their first practice there in P-Town at the football field, and then they'll kind of go back and forth like they did in the past where they bounce back between P-Town and Erie. But if you're still interested in playing for Erie Prophetstown, get signed up at alumnifootballusa.com. If you're not quite sure, come out to practice and see what it's all about. You'll have a blast with it. The game is August 27th against Amboy, right smack dab in the middle of Depot Days. So the crowd will be big. We want to make sure that we can get tickets out as soon as we can so you guys can raise as much money for whatever cause that you choose as a team, and go from there.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, for every ticket an Amboy player sells, we don't get any money from that as far as whatever charity that the AP team's going to go. So you've got to, not buy them at the gate, buy them from an AP player, and make sure you show up. And hopefully we get some people carpooling or renting a bus or something, but we need the players. We need the players for sure, but we also need the fans to go up and support the team for two reasons. A, because it's always nice to have fans in the stands, and B, that's how we raise the money for the charity. But we definitely need players. Definitely need players. Get out there, and it doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you're over 18, and support the team, support the organization, and whatever charity that we're gonna support this year. But it's a great organization and a great time to go out and watch some people that maybe you watched growing up play football and always thought, man, it'd be nice to see him play again. Get out there and support it. And it's a wonderful time.
I'm pretty sure the Amboy crew will be selling their 50-50 raffle at the game. Last year's winner was $145,000. So
$145,000.
Yeah, the Amboy Depot Days raffle is insane.
Right.
And they will be selling tickets at the game as well.
I forgot all about that. I graduated with Sarah Morris that went to Erie here, but her boys go up to Depot Days or go to Amboy or Lamoille, I think, which is a consolidation with Amboy for football. But she's always on Facebook every year selling those tickets, and it's $100-some thousand that they raise. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that last year's winner was $145,000.
Yeah,
and it's been that way for the last few years. They get me for a couple $100 every year. I try to win every year.
There you go. Hey, why not? I mean, that's it. And I forget what their half goes to, but their half goes to a charity as well, if I believe.
That and the actual Depot Days committee, yeah. So that enables them to do all that they do. I mean, it's a very big, just like Tugfest, it's a very big town celebration type thing, and they do a very good job with it. And we were kind of honored that they asked us to do the game right in the middle of it. They wanted to add it to their calendar of events, and we're always happy when we can do that. But whenever you have that, pre-sale tickets become that much more important because we want to make sure that guys are selling them, because people tend to be like, we'll be in town anyway, we'll just stop at the game. No, you need to buy your tickets before, because at the gate, 100% of the gate comes to us, and we do that for one main reason, is to put pressure on people to sell tickets, because then we know that they're raising money.
Exactly, and it does work. I can't reiterate enough. You need to get signed up to play, and you need to buy if you're not playing, you need to get signed up, not signed up, but you need to get out and buy your tickets ahead of time and make sure you show up to the game, because it is a wonderful time. And this year there's a little more incentive with $140,000 on the line with the 50-50 drawing. So make sure you take part in this. Maybe even head up. That's on a Saturday. I think Depot Day starts on a Friday. Yep. Maybe head up the night before and partake in the Depot Days. Stay for the game on Saturday, and I can't stress it enough. It's a good time, a good organization for a good cause. So.
The game is a 5:30 kickoff too. It's earlier than we normally do it to maximize the after game activities.
Okay, so you heard it. It's 5:30 on August 27th, and in Amboy. So make sure you get out and also I can't stress enough, whether you play for Washington or Stark County or whatever, they're having a game this year. Get out, get signed up, because it is a wonderful time, and it's a great chance to put the pads on and hit somebody again. And if your school does not have a game this year, sign up. And if it's too late this year, then I guarantee you Chuck will get the ball rolling and you'll have one next year. So it's never too late to put the pads on and hit somebody. 84-year-old did it. I'm sure that you can do it too. So This is Mort's Sports Corner, and we're signing off. And thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week. Hi, it's Clark Mortensen from Mort's Sports Corner on Vintage Radio 105.5, sponsored by the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Join us every Saturday from 10 to noon for our one-on-one interviews and sports ranging from T-ball to the big leagues.